And well, golden. So, Greg, thank you very much for doing this. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about what you're doing, basically?
So I'm a nutrition and mindset coach. I help professional women get in great shape,
Hmm.
fat, get strong, basically. So yeah.
Sweet. Right. So, I would like to know, like, what was the problem that you were facing before you got into my world? Like, what was it that you were missing, basically?
I was pumping out a lot of content, a lot of how-to content, and you get lots of great posts and
Right.
oh, excellent. Yeah, you see it, or you must have seen it 100
Right.
times. And I read about, I think you posted about 4 or 5 times, and I liked the first post, and I was like, okay,
Hmm.
this makes. And then obviously you kept repeating the message, and I kept seeing it. I was like, okay, this
Hmm.
guy seems like he's onto something. So if I recall, you did a workshop, and it was like, it was a workshop literally just to help us get the content out of our heads.
Right.
Um, and it was like you we said it was such a simple belief shift
Right.
that I had, that from having to do all this how-to content to actually talking about what people actually need to hear and how to convert them to people who want to work with you.
Right, right. And the workshop was like insane because like what you got like so many results from it, like so many content out, right?
Oh yeah. So if I remember when we did that initial workshop, it was, I think I got about 30 from the original bit we did, because we had like some 10-minute blocks, didn't we, to work
Right,
through some
right.
content. And I
Hmm.
managed to literally jot down about 30 bits of content, and about I stayed on my laptop for about 10 minutes after, and I'd got another five.
Oh shit.
Um,
That's awesome.
and it was a way that it was able to go, right, this is the big problem, this is the symptom, this is how you break it down, this is
Right.
how you shift the belief. And I've still got that sheet now.
Hmm.
I think it's 2 years.
Yeah.
And
2 years and you're still using it, right?
yeah, and what's interesting, I've got a few other people who are in my world, in the health coaching world. They're like, Greg, what's happened to your content? And I'm like,
Hmm.
I can't tell you.
I can
It's a
tell you.
secret. I
It's a
can't tell you.
secret, man.
It's a secret.
Right. It's awesome, man. It's awesome. So yeah, basically the workshop helps you map out all the content and all of a sudden you start working with me and then like your content started being a lot more clearer and help people to see what you're doing, like actually express fully express what you're doing and how you help your people basically, right?
So after that workshop, there was a little bit of a break and a bit of a lull. You're trying to get into this new flow after years and years of writing how
Right.
to get this. And then we
Right.
jumped to a 30-day working together, and I really started to just write longer, more informed, more
Hmm.
focused posts. And all of a sudden people started to message me, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? So I had to lean into it, because everyone tells you got to write short posts. People don't have attention
Right.
spans nowadays.
Right.
um
Which is bullshit, right?
well, yeah, people watch TV, people read books all the
Exactly.
time, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, you have to, it taught me how to talk to what my client was facing at that particular moment in their life.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
definitely. Definitely. And could you explain a little bit like how did that help you address the problem you were having? Like the steps we took in the program and like what was the most impactful thing in the program for you?
oh Lord, there are a couple of things. I think number
Hmm.
one was just showing me how to talk to my clients, the clients that were the right clients, because that was the
Right.
key.
Right.
um Longer, more detailed content, those are for the people that have a problem, and they're ready to go, pretty much.
Hmm.
They're not,
Right.
there's no convincing. We
Right.
hop on a sales call, and it's more of a vibe check. It's more of
Right.
a,
Right.
they just want to know the finer details of the program. They already know from my content that I can solve their problem.
Right.
um Number two, but it was also being able to, as a non-business coach, being able to show how much value in what I do, so people
Hmm.
understand. So that was awesome.
Yeah. And you said you were like you had calls, but just for vibe checks. And um like were you getting objections or it's like just really vibe checks like, oh, you're cool, like here's the fine details, that's it.
Yeah, it was pretty much, most of the calls ended up just being, hey Greg, look, thanks for thanks for us getting on a call. And it was more of a, I just want to check that this is going to match up with my work schedule. They just wanted to know, when can we book calls? Just the finer points. It
Right.
wasn't really
Right.
objections around investment at all. It was more about, okay, how is this just going to work for me? That was literally it. So it's
Yeah.
more an opportunity for me to just say, is this the right client?
Right. Exactly. And then you can filter people.
Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing is that some objections, like, so you have to differentiate between objections and wanting to be heard. And those kind of things that you were getting is just wanting to be heard, right? Like, is it going to work for me? It's not just like, oh yeah, like it's too expensive for me. It's not the right time, whatever. Like, it's not the same objection. It's not an objection. It's basically just, I need empathy from you. Just give me some empathy. And if you give it to me, I will work with you. Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of them just wanted to go, Greg, you've outlined your method in about 10 posts before. So
Right.
I kind of know how it works. And it's funny because this is the opposite to how we were all taught before, right? It was always
Right.
put the info out, but don't give enough and don't tell them
Right.
anything and wait
Right.
for them to get behind your curtain, which
Yeah.
so now
Tell
it's
me
just
what,
more,
sell the how, basically.
yes,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
which
Right.
it totally destroyed my mindset around that. Um, and yeah, people just get on calls, ladies just get on calls going, I just want to know this person a little bit more just to make sure. So we'd end up having a chat and I'd be like, right, so we doing
Right.
this. We
Awesome.
need to go.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. All right,
Um,
and let me just ask you this, like, because like basically we talked about it, like the nitty gritty of the program and how it impacted you, but like, what was the result? Like, could you explain, like, quantify the results you got from actually implementing the process?
yeah, so I think there's about 3 different results I got from
Okay.
working. So one was my content flow was just so much easier. So less stress, less time. I actually started to enjoy writing content. Like
It's awesome.
writing content was fun again. Number two, I was able to use that framework we put together into videos. So you can do it
Mhm.
exactly the same. It doesn't make any difference whether it's
Right,
written,
definitely.
yeah, or even a podcast you can put it into. I think I
Yeah.
did it in a podcast once and I was like, okay. And I got someone reach out more. They joined my free group and etc. But the biggest
Hmm.
thing when I started to really dig into it and really go, right, I'm going to trust this process and trust myself.
Hmm.
Um, I got 6 sales calls, all just sold, and they were 12. That was 12K
A month.
in 1 month.
That's insane, dude. And where did you start? Like, what was the
Oh
average
Lord,
like revenue that you were getting
about 2.5, 3K if I remember rightly what I was doing
per
every month.
month? Holy shit, that's awesome, man. That is amazing results. And that's insane. And I wanted to ask you, like, if someone is on the fence, like, what would you tell them to actually tell them, like why should they work with me? Like, if someone is on the fence, what would you tell them?
He'll talk to you. Kev will talk to you about mixtapes first of all. We'll have that conversation about mixtapes.
I love that it's our inside joke, man. People are like,
Oh, okay, we
like,
can't
what the
share
fuck
that.
is
All right, fair enough.
that?
But no, seriously, Kev helps you really get down to the nitty gritty of what you're trying to portray to the client on the other side. So
Mhm.
that people come to you, they're just ready to go, and you're not wasting time with people who aren't ready to go. And it will make everything so much smoother. You won't have to worry about funnels. You
Mhm.
won't have to worry about all this expensive kit, sales pages, and all that stuff. You just have genuine inquiries, and even if they don't come to you then, they will come back to you. I've seen that
Right,
happen before,
right.
because sometimes they're not ready, but it helps you build a nice little pipeline of people. So when you do, if you have to do any outreach, whatever, people have seen your stuff and they're like, yeah, this is the person to work with me. So what are you waiting for, people? Just jump into cooking with Kev's world. Follow his posts, jump into Kev's world.
That's awesome, man. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you one last question. Like, to whom would you recommend me? Like, who do you think is going to be the right fit to work with me?
Basically anyone who's ready to do the work first. Like you have to
Mhm.
shed some skin about how you put content together now, and you have to kind of go,
Right.
okay, I'm ready to do the work. Number two, someone who understands their own program, and you'll help them do that. But I think they have to be really connected to their program.
Right.
Um, but just anyone who really wants to get the right clients and enjoy what they do more. So if you're stuck at that level of I'm putting out tons of content and I hate it and it's boring, and it's frustrating, no one's reaching out, then and you're ready to do the work, then you should come and work with Kevin.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you for that.
My pleasure, buddy. My pleasure. Anytime.